will apologize at the outset for the last time. We don't have much of a program set up, and that's my fault. I just got back from out of town. I'm a little bit grubby, and everybody's here at 7 o'clock, so we're just going to go ahead anyways. Hope to get an actual lesson plan together after this. Again, the videos we started recording were never really meant to be like things that went online that we're supposed to teach everybody how to save the world. They're more just our own little teaching things we're going to put online, but now actually there seems to be so much more interest online that we should probably just put a whole, a lesson plan together and start covering topics that have a title so you can research it and just, oh, I want to learn about driving no license, so, let's click on that video or whatever. So we're going to start getting into that for the next video better. I've just been informed that we've been getting emails from, I don't know, as far as ways Australia for people asking for clarification on things. I will address a few of those real quick here before we get into some things. I just quickly went over them right before class. And I wanted to address one here because, the fan was kind of noisy. There's one thing I love to do when I get thrown in jail for the weekend or for 4 or 5 days, and I love to teach people their rights in prison. And who is there more of in prison than anybody else in Canada? Natives, Indians, right? So I'll do a quick little thing on this. The first thing I like to teach people, as soon as I get out of my cell for the first time, we all sit around the tables, I grab one of those requisition forms for the canteen, I grab a pencil, and just say, okay, who wants to learn their rights? And 5, 6 guys will gather around you right away, and they just, oh, okay, let's see what this guy has to say. Because they're in jail, they got nothing else to do. So, because somebody has a question here about, apparently one of my videos I said anything that has a signature is bad. I don't remember saying that. It's probably taken out of context.
Anything that has a government signature is bad.
Actually, anything that's got a government signature is good.
Or your signature on a government document.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Because you want to make sure you know what you're signing.
Right.
Right? Because that's your liability going on that document now. So it could be bad. It could also be very good. Okay.
Over in this meeting right
But, okay, so what was I going to say? So the person has a question about the citizenship provided by the government, has a signature, blah, 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 and he goes on to say something about for a native of Canada. Okay. There was a guy in the Winnipeg Sun 2 months ago. A native guy went to court and basically fired his lawyer when they called his white man name in the court. He said, that's not my name. And then they said, well, what is your name? And he spoke his name in his own language. And they said, well, how do you spell that? And, he's being a little belligerent and said something like, it's not a written language. You have an idiot kind of thing, right? And got into it with him. And then he said, Canadian law doesn't apply to me. And he said, I'm an Aboriginal. Your laws don't apply to me, okay? Fatal mistake made right in that word. And that's the first thing I like to teach Native people. So I'm going to I want to put that on here because I'm sorry, I've spent lots of time with them now in the jails, and I'm going to tell you, 90% of them don't deserve to be there. I'm an Aboriginal. No. Okay, let's play some word games. Let's use the word nope. Unclean. And abnormal. Those are really the only 3 words you need to explain what's going on here, okay? Because you people were given the same education as we were, public education, courtesy of the government, that taught us to be as completely incompetent as we could possibly be to be reliant on the government. So they got you to call yourself the wrong thing right off the hop. If you're an Aboriginal, that's the same as calling yourself, you can either be, anyways, if you don't know much about the English language, that's called a prefix, and a prefix can completely change the word following the prefix. So,
negative.
There you go. So it can change it to be good or bad, and I'm guessing it's bad because you can either be abnormal or normal. You can be unclean or you can be clean. You can be an Aboriginal or you can be the original people of this land. And the original people of this land are men and women. That's actually all of us. We're all the inhabitants of this land because we're all born here. We're all of this soil. We're all of this earth. That's all of us. So men and women, the man, is the original people of this land. If you're calling yourself this, That's a status with the government. I'm a status Indian, I'm an Aboriginal. Well, there's liabilities attached to that. And that's why you're in jail, right? Deal with the government and you're gonna get the short end of the stick. So just be prepared, and people might want to do their own research on exactly what that all entails, being an Aboriginal as opposed to the original people of this land. So hopefully that helps them with whatever they're asking for about citizenship and whatnot. Because what is citizenship?
Employment.
It's the citizenship.
Wardship.
It's the citizenship. You're on the citizenship. You're on Canada.
What's the capital?
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Enjoy all that comes with that. So, there was that one. There's one I liked here actually. Basically said something about, okay, so how is this? I'm making claim to the legal person John Doe, all capital letters, name. Well, you don't make a legal claim to it. You know, you got the birth certificate. That's your claim to it. You don't need to proactively make more of a legal claim to something we've already got proof of owning all the equity in already. I will hereafter be known as, you can call yourself anything, man. My friends have some names for me that I wouldn't really like to put on camera. You know, my dad calls me son. Call yourself whatever you want to be called at, but don't be afraid to just call yourself by the, you know, the upper lowercase version of your own name. Never be afraid of that, but differentiate it. If you're in police custody and they ask you for your name, never give it verbally, ever. Ask for a piece of paper and write it down, or spell it out and say capital D, lowercase e, lowercase a, lowercase n, and then spell out your last name the same way. So there's no misunderstandings, because you could be saying anything when you just say it out loud verbally, right? So anyways, whereas I understand that I am the director, administrator, president, CEO, king, and chief of said legal person. Great. Make up whatever title you want, as long as it sounds very authoritative, right? Wonderful. Whatever you want to be, as long as you've made it clear it's a position of authority in that organization. Therefore, I ask that all affected parties send me proof of claim of anything they allege I cannot do. That'd be a spin-off what we talked about with the new Ecor there last week, where, you know, why send them a 50-page document of your right to wash your underwear first thing in the morning before you leave for work, right? You send them something saying, hey, even though I don't think you guys are really telling me I don't have human rights, I just want to clarify, is there something you're claiming I can't do? Right? That's a good initial contact with the government. Starts your business relationship that ended when you got your birth certificate. You never contacted them ever again. Well, you may want to do that, set some terms up and get a business relationship going with these people, right? Also, the reason I like that is how hard it would be to ask a simple variation of that to a Crown before you go to summary convictions court. Therefore, I ask that all affected parties send me proof of a claim of an injury. Send that to a Crown before court. When he doesn't respond, get a certificate of default printed up and file that into the court record before court. Right? You're given an opportunity to deal with these things administratively and ask really good questions like that before court, because once you're in court in summary convictions, you're the defendant. Okay? They're the plaintiff, you're the defendant. If you're there, it's because you haven't settled. You haven't contacted them. Why haven't you contacted them? Well, you're not even attempting to contact and settle this dispute, so I'm going to settle it for you, is what's going on. Even though we all know what's really going on in the court anyways, is they are assuming you're a public servant. So address that as well, right? Another good question to ask the cops on the side of the road, by the way.
Layers of the onion.
Yeah. Again, presumptions. I keep telling everybody with that explanation of when we're all going out for dinner. I like to keep hammering that one through. We're all going out for dinner and no one is asked who's paying the bill. Right? So just keep that in mind. Every time you're dealing with government, any time they speak to you, they make you an offer, they contact you, you want to get all the presumptions out of the way so there's nothing left to interpretation later. Because they'll interpret anything they want. Interpret. Sorry, not interpretate. I don't think that's a word. Anyways. Okay, so a lot of people have asked about driving. Everybody wants to get rid of their licenses and drive without a license plate, which is a great idea if you're willing and able to make the arguments at the side of the road. You're willing to get arrested and be beaten and thrown in jail. If you're willing to have your car towed at least once and thrown in the impound and never get it back ever. That's happened to me twice now. Don't do it unless you're sure that you're, in your convictions, you want to start the free man process, and because they're going to start testing us all a lot more in the next little while here, because more and more of us are waking up every day and starting to drive around with our own plates and question authority, and oh boy, slave masters don't like it when the slaves get uppity, so they'll start to beat us a little bit harder before they let any of us really start to get away. So let's go over driving.
I got a suggestion.
Yeah.
Lease the vehicles.
No, don't ever do that.
No?
No.
What about under your
Who owns the
corporate
equity
name?
in a leased vehicle?
Well,
Not you.
No, you see, the thing is, if they take it, it's not yours anyway.
But that's not really honorable.
Oh, so what?
Yeah, I don't like that. This is an honor system, right? Plus, if you don't own the equity, you can't control the vehicle. Plus, you're going to do that maybe once until your credit's destroyed, and then you're out of the vehicle, period.
You know what? Farm equipment doesn't need a license.
Ah, yeah, okay, good point. So you drive a lawn tractor around, yeah. No. And the other part I like about this as well is that when you're buying a cheap car, because you got to buy it cash now, right? That's great with my whole divestment idea from the government period, right? Because now you're not buying a $50,000 car on credit. There's no interest payments. You're not paying $3,500 in GST alone on that vehicle anymore, which is just straight to the government profits, right? To feed their bloated organization, where they're just going to have more money to hire more cops to beat more of us at the side of the road. So now you're buying a cheap car, you're not paying taxes on it because you're not registering it. So they lose out on that revenue, which they should, because this is private. This is all in the private. We're keeping everything that we do more into the private realm and keeping it out of the public realm, which we know a public license plate, a public servant driver's license. Government, to get jurisdiction, has to get you to apply for all these things in the public. Public insurance, public this, public that. It's all bad. Insurance is a scam anyways. It's impossible, we just spoke about that before class today, it's impossible for somebody else to assume liability for your actions. It's impossible. That's an insurance scam. Anybody who shows up with a suit and tie and says, hey, just sign here and we'll pay for any kind of damages you cause when you're out and about, right? It's impossible. It's a scam. Like I said, I can't pay anybody here money to go punch somebody else in the face and say, don't worry about it, I'll assume liability for you punching them in the face. No, it doesn't happen. Believe me, the guy that does the punching is still going to jail. I'll be going as an accessory though.
Because he took money to punch someone in the face.
Yeah, right? I'll just be alongside with you. We'll be cellmates, and there we can discuss the insurance policy that we thought we had in place, right? So that's a big farce. Don't ever fall for that. Okay, so driving. Driving without a license. It's really simple. You get in your car and you drive around. I know, shockingly difficult, isn't it? So the problems start when you get pulled over. Let's start with just the word driving, period. Everybody's always making arguments in court. I wasn't driving, I was traveling in my horse-drawn carriage, and I'm, this and blah, blah, blah. And they're making all these arguments about the definition of that word doesn't mean this, and they're getting into the word definition game. I hate that game. I hate that game. I never play. I just, yeah, I'm driving. So what? Look up the word in Black's Law Dictionary to tell you, yeah, I'm driving, I'm operating a vehicle, whatever they want. I don't care. I don't care. Because when there's no plate and there's no driver's license, I'm doing it in the private. So it doesn't matter. Call it whatever word you want. If they have a different definition in their own statute, great, good for them. How does that apply to me? Where in that statute does it say, if Dean is driving, he must obey all the rules and regulations under the Highway Traffic Act? Okay? No, it doesn't say that. That's ridiculous to even think that it would. So they're making the public servant argument, and I've shown some of you guys some of the Autopack forms from Manitoba where it says right in the fine print that you're confessing that that vehicle is being used to perform a public service if the plate's on it. So it's all trickery. They're trying to, again, you have to realize this. None of this would really stand up to scrutiny in the real world, but they know they're never going to be in the real world against us. They know we don't know what to do. Most of us can't even defend ourselves in summary convictions, let alone then go on the offensive and go after these people and put them in their place, right? So they're really pretty not worried at all about all this deceptive wording they're using in these non-contracts. So driving, the first clue something is wrong is when they charge you under the Highway Traffic